And we're back. We're going to talk about how to embrace new ideas and innovate on it. Today's a guest episode. We got Dan's good friend back again. Adit, welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Dan, do you want to?
Yes. So I want to make a small introduction to all of us, actually. So you know what? There is this thing called Chinese calendar, right? When they call something like a year of rat, year of bull,
Yeah.
or whatever. And today I checked Hustler's calendar for 2021, 22, and you know what? It turns out that this year is a year of not being a pussy. So anyone who feels like a pussy in their life, in their business, stop being a pussy, because 2022 is not a year for it. So tonight we are hosting Adit, who is who based his business on funny images that you can find online, popularly called NFTs, and he will tell us all about his business, and actually more importantly, he will tell us all about his skills to embrace on new trends, new ideas that appear, and how he was early to the market. Because when we were still wondering what NFT is, he was already, at least 1 feet deep in that shit.
Go on, Adit. Now tell people what your business is about.
Yeah, so initially it started just with like a deep dive, deep research for actually months while, doing other work, more traditional e-commerce work and this kind of thing, handling clients, maybe even when it was not specifically my own kind of ideal service, like not advertising. It was even I was taking on some kind of web development, chatbot stuff just because I knew about it and I knew how to manage people as well as do the finishing touches. So I was kind of, you know, doing both things, while I was learning. But then I, did a full dive into it, and the services once again were not, it was basically helping connect artists as well as the NFT projects. But all type of projects, right? From gaming projects to community-led projects to kind of like the funny JPEGs, as Daniel puts it, all kinds of stuff, utility-based projects. But now, kind of the past 1 or 2 months, I'd really say that we now have like a clear uh, two-part business when it comes to NFTs and providing services for creators and projects. And that is like having what I guess you could call a side hustle or something new that is that you put out, like like you're sending out troops, you send out some scouts. So it's like it's still a fledged project, but it's focusing on a few small but different things. So one is the social media management on Twitter of NFT accounts, talking in the language of the niche, excitement, sharing giveaways, being excited, showing the analytics of the project or a partner project, hyping the group up as well as hyping up the community, informing people, all that kind of stuff. That's the social media management. And then combined with that, Discord management, because I don't know if you guys have ever been in an NFT Discord, but it's absolute chaos. It's fun. It's
Mine's
chaotic.
at max.
There's a lot of
Hundreds max.
money. Yeah. It's super fun, and because everyone's trying to get into the whitelist. So this is the first term, NFT term, that I'm happy to share with you. It's called the whitelist. This is what
Yeah.
everyone in the NFT community is trying to get. What it means is basically you're an early investor in a project and you can buy into the project before the public does. So why that's an advantage is because in a public sale, that the transaction cost for your NFT to get on the blockchain is very expensive. Imagine if everyone goes to the gas station at the same time. There's no gas, fuel prices increase. So the benefit is getting there early, 24 hours, 48 hours early, and you get to buy when the gas fees are super low, and you don't have to buy it on OpenSea or a secondary market, because by that time it's hit there, guess what? The prices are 20 to 50, sometimes even 100% higher. So you get in early. And one of the key ways you get into a whitelist of an NFT project is by, like what I described with the social media on Twitter, you're doing that within Discord. So you're trying to be a good member, a good community member, share the content of the project, basically being a good like moderator. So that's where the second service comes in. So the first one is social media. Second one is Discord management, basically being a moderator to manage that chaos and steer the ship. And the third service that we're just working on releasing is basically for collectors and influencers. So we're going to them and saying, hey, you don't have time to be in these Discords talking a few hours a day, all this kind of stuff. We have trained people to do that. Why don't we get you the whitelist for you? So that's the third thing. So why I gave the analogy of sending troops out is because like these three kind of related things within the NFT space, but not many people have got services on it. Not much market intelligence yet. So that's why you just have it as a small side hustle. Learn, collect the intelligence, collect the analytics, see what language works, what kind of service works, what price range works, and then you can integrate it into your core business of the wider high ticket services for NFT projects, etc. So this is something that everyone can implement. So basically have like these micro budgets proportion to new things that you want to try in 2022, new things that are not willing to dive in headfirst the whole thing, all your time, all your team, all your money, but you want a little testing budget. This is what I've learned.
Let's roll back a little bit.
Yeah.
You've
That's a
gone
big
so
deep
deep
dive.
into the trenches. I completely know what you're talking, but for people who are new, they're just like, sorry, what did he just say? Because they're like, you're throwing a lot of jargons in there, right? But
For sure.
let's just roll back, and I'm just curious, right? Because a few months ago we got you here. You were one of our first people who jumped on the podcast to talk about your business. At that time, it wasn't that big a thing yet, so my question is, going back to what we were going to talk about, is like, how did you first come across this term, and how did you embrace it rather than go, oh, I don't know what this is about, and then you just like reject it? So how did you see that as an opportunity? Did you see it as a first go, or did you first say no, then it pops out again, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to have a look now this time? So tell us a bit of story of how that works.
Yeah. So you know what? It's an equally complex idea, but it's the first one that popped into my head. So I'll use it to explain this. Basically, everyone has this kind of fixed mindset when it comes to being early, or being early to embrace something, or early to innovate. It's not absolute. And my point is that you didn't have to be there in 2009, 2010 Bitcoin to make use of Bitcoin as a financial instrument, or an investment vehicle. You could have been there in 2010, 2012, 2013, bull run 2016, 17, 19. You could have, there's so many times, even within deep into the bear market, which basically is a term for when the market or the stock market is at a lower point, whereas right now we're at all-time highs, more or less. So there are ways to even make money in a bear market. So that's why I wanted to kind of shift the definition from early, because people say early, you have to be at the earliest. Well, in that case, the CryptoKitty and CryptoKitty, CryptoPunks, they were in 2016, 2017. But of course, people who have entered the market in 2019, 2020, 2021, of course, they've probably gained the same or even much more. So there's periods of earliness. So right now, if someone was coming into NFTs and metaverse or crypto, and they were kind of intimidated, I'd say, you're still early. It's like telling someone, just because they missed the first internet company, they've missed the internet. You know what I mean? That's like, so there are stages of earliness. So one of the ways I found out and identified this is very similar to Gary Vee. He says that it was a collection, it's an intersection of many points that he was interested in. So marketing, creators, community, and he always liked collecting. You see him going to garage sales. You see him collect baseball cards. He's a big fan of the New York Nets, I believe.
New York Jets.
Yes,
New York Jets. Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, he wants to own that as all-time goal of his. So mine, obviously, I've not been a football card flip or anything of that sort. But every other integration that he mentioned, or correlation, I shared every other one. And so when I saw it come across, and I was already interested in cryptocurrency. I already understood that, as much as I like owning real world things, the feeling of this wooden board, I like owning real world things, but it's like you have to also adapt and accept certain things that have potential. It doesn't mean you have to be 100% NFT uh, maximalist, but it just means that, okay, the world is going digital. The past 2 years have been a testament to that, through work, through investments, through money, everything, through how we buy things more so. That's why Amazon has been incredibly successful when everyone else has failed. So, portion some of your investment to these digital assets. It could be like we've seen. Uh, I don't know if you guys know about Full Send. It's like one of these big YouTube channels that's all about the community, and they had an NFT that sold for 1 Ethereum, and it just gives you access to their membership club of physical locations as well as digital locations, digital assets. So that's the thing. It's not so much JPEGs as Daniel puts it, although I know where he's coming from. A lot of it is, but the whole point of an investor or the whole point of an enthusiast is to come into the space and say, okay, what here? A lot of it is noise, a lot of it is color. What here has utility? What here has community? Because when everything is bearish, community is one of the strongest things that comes in and buys, comes in and supports, and comes in and actually offers their own services for the project and say, hey, I'm a good marketer. Do you guys need help? There's so many instances here when that happens. So yeah, I don't know if that was a kind of long-winded answer, but definitely, people are still early. That's what I would like to emphasize.
Sorry, since you mentioned Gary Vee, I was holding this joke because I didn't want to interrupt.
Let's hear it.
Do you know what? Do you know what else Gary Vee says?
What? He says a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Eat shit.
He always says things like that.
He has the most savage advice and also the best advice. I love that
Yeah.
guy.
He has the most down to earth advice. That is for sure.
It's reminded me of this parody of Gary Vee that I sent you, and this guy said, "Eat shit," literally.
I think I know the parody. It's that comedian, right?
Yeah.
Younger comedian who did like a thing of his. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, crazy. Cool. I want to spice up the conversation a little bit, right? Let's just add a bit of spice. So you are in it because you already have the idea of cryptocurrencies. You kind of know what it is already. I am the same, right? I know what it's about. But Dan does not know a freaking thing about it, right? So Dan, okay. No.
Yeah, he knows, but
I'm trying to.
As he said earlier before this conversation, when we were in the waiting room, what he said is, and I said, we'll wait, like you said, Zayne, till we start the thing. But he said, I know it. I know there's potential. I've seen it develop. Like, you have to be blind to not see anything, right? He's seen it develop, but he's not fully convinced. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So I asked him, what would it take?
This is why I think it's interesting to hear Dan's perspective, because
definitely
we have done our homework, etc. We know, like, oh yeah, okay, there's this and that. But sometimes I think it's quite good to see the other side, which is like,
definitely,
what is it that is, because I think this is the whole thing about embracing new ideas, right? Some people can, maybe this is a fad, it might not go anywhere. So that's why I think it's quite good to be grounded, to see both sides of things and then see both perspectives, because we can say, oh, it's all this and early and stuff, but sometimes it's quite easy to be trapped in like a little bubble, and then you will just hear all the things that you want to hear. So I'm just curious, like, Dan, you obviously that I'm into crypto as well and NFTs, all that stuff, but what was it that goes through your head that makes you think like, I know there's this new thing is coming up, but I'm not fully convinced yet? Or what was the thought process like that?
I hate to misattribute this idea. It's a very novel, beautiful idea. I hate to misattribute it to the wrong person, but I'm somewhat convinced that I've got it right. If one of you guys can double check the idea or the concept of 1,000 true fans. I believe the creator of this idea or concept was Tim Ferriss, but if you guys could
I think it's not Kevin Kelly, but I think it's someone like that.
Tim Ferriss? Not Tim Ferriss?
No, not Tim Ferriss.
No, okay.
He didn't come up with 1,000.
This 1,000 true fans thing. So that's like the arch that's the support of this whole momentum, right? So it's all about community, and it can be just, I've seen projects succeed when it's just 100 buyers.
Yeah.
So but let's take 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it is Kevin Kelly. But
Okay,
just going back
good.
to what we were talking
Yeah.
about. So going back about understanding perspective, etc. Like and just going back to you, is there what was the thought about seeing this thing coming up but not fully convinced yet? Like what was going through your thinking
So at
or
the
Danny?
like I was saying, the moment that I became convinced was I realized that the threshold that we put for success or a community of having a fan base is much higher than reality. Patreon, Discord, NFTs, exclusive membership communities of any nature have shown me and proven time and time again that idea that I mentioned and that you
No,
just
no, no,
verified.
I understand that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that now I want to hear a different side of story. So I
Okay.
want to hear from Daniel's perspective.
Okay, Daniel's
Uh,
perspective. Got you.
yeah, sorry, maybe I didn't make it clear.
Okay,
So
I
I want
know.
to hear from Daniel's perspective. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm in it because I know where you're coming from, but I want to hear a different side of the story because I think this is where we want to focus on, which is for most people when they're just starting, it's that new ideas are it's easy to see why don't you get in when you look at it in hindsight, but you're in foresight. It's like I'm curious because to hear what was the thought process. So Dan, I'll let you talk.
You know what? When it comes to my relationship with NFT, I would say it's there are two things about this thing. One is time. So I haven't had really time to sit down and
Mm,
read on it very thoroughly to understand it. I only got some, let's say, snippets from the news, from social media, and stuff like that. The other thing is financial, right? So because my financial situation is not great, I don't have, let's say, money to spend on NFT, and uh, I have this, let's say, view about cryptocurrencies that I also have about NFT,
mm,
that you should invest only you should only invest the money that you are ready to lose. If something goes leeway, you are like 100% comfortable with losing that money, with with staying with zero. And of course, I have some money in crypto, not much, but if that goes, to Gate, I'm fine. It's gone. Okay.
mm,
If I have this couple of hundreds, thousands to spend on NFT, and I'm comfortable with this going to zero, okay, I'm gonna buy myself NFT. But definitely, I would rather buy some NFT that has some more value to it. Like,
mm,
I'm gonna talk now about one of the most expensive projects and NFTs. So, Bored Apes Yacht Club. This
yep.
project, I find it amazing. I read about it. I have heard a lot about it, and I think that this project is actually amazing. Like, the initial pricing was like what, 30,000, right? And paying
Not
just
even that.
Probably around 0.06 ETH, I believe, which the current
Few hundred.
price would probably be around 250
Yeah.
bucks.
really,
Yeah.
really.
It's two
Okay,
hundred
so
fifty dollars.
okay, so I heard about it when it was $30,000, right? And
Tenny.
when I heard what's included, that there are famous people in the club, that they organize the events in Miami, wherever they people network, paying 30,000 to have an access to these people with huge business potential, that's a bargain. Like,
Mm,
that's actually, I would compare it to something that I have heard about a guy buying a Bugatti. The guy bought a Bugatti because his thought process was that I'm buying Bugatti to join the club of Bugatti owners. I want to meet other Bugatti's owners, because they are fucking rich, and I want to do business with them, you know. So that would be my thought process. But
Exactly.
I want to
Yeah.
make like a, let's say, a promise here, that I believe that one day, if NFT doesn't go away, and I I think that NFT will stay with us for longer time period. Uh, I think that one day we will create the Newborn Hustlers NFT, and I believe that one day I will create my own Real Hustlers NFT, because I like the idea of community, because that's what I really want to build around the brands that I, let's say, own or partially own. I partially own the Newborn Hustlers show. I own Real Hustlers. I I fucking love these brands, and I want these brands to grow to the size of quite big communities with like-minded people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I'll bring it back to Adit, because this is his line of business, and he does this for a living. We talk innovation as well. So now, Adit, I know you're in it. You know, I'm in it as well. You must done a lot of research, etc. You must know the whole ins and outs of NFTs. But in a sort of simple way, right? Because NFT is like a new thing that most people heard of, but they don't really understand. You know, I run workshops for people on NFTs, and they're so can't believe they're one of the people who
You
actually,
run? You
yeah,
run at
I
the
run
moment?
workshops. Yeah,
Wow.
for
Nice.
people teaching them about NFTs. And I certainly find a lot of way that I think of to innovate about things, because you just go deep into it, then you find out some stuff that you can innovate on. That's my process. But I wonder, like, for you who are in this line of business, who are creating it, what do you do to like innovate on something that's new? Because it's new, how do you bring it to the next level?
Okay.
What's your thought process?
Yeah. This is a good one. How do you innovate and take things to the next level? Okay. First, before that, I'll just briefly touch on the points of conflict, or the points of needing more evidence that Daniel just touched on briefly. One thing that he said was community and utility, and I think I mentioned on our first call that NFTs as utility will be the big thing. NFTs as access, I think, is the way I put it, like a Willy Wonka golden ticket. I think I said.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. That's the utility. It's the collector's goal or investor's goal to find those projects, and over time you become very good. So, but that's not the only niche. Just to so there are those community strong utility that Daniel respects, like Bored Apes and stuff like that. But my response to him is there are also many other communities like Bored Ape, where the entry to get in right now is much cheaper. A lot of this network and meetings and value is still, I'm not saying Bored Ape level, but let's be honest, we're talking about the number one in the world and the most expensive in the world.
Mm.
But it's about spotting the trend so you can get in these things early. And listen, you don't have to find the perfect one, because there's so much value that an average person doesn't get at all on Twitter and YouTube when they're in one of these even average communities. Seriously. So that's my response to him with the community aspect, and I get it. But there are also art-focused projects that, if you're an investor and you want a quick flip, or to invest in and hold it for the long term, you don't care about community, you don't care about that. Those are equally successful. Okay,
Mm.
now to answer your question, Zane, I'd say in the NFT space and in any area you want to innovate, obviously there are more methods, but one that I found works is take a 30,000 foot approach, and then take like literally like a 3 foot approach, meaning go see it from the whole level first. So see, okay, maybe even like meditate, or just think about it, like if you're getting serious about a space. So you see, okay, metaverse. Okay, then you see wearables, then you see physical, like hardware to go along with the metaverse. Okay, what do you need? Okay, so your mind is running. Okay, now you need goggles, you need the treadmill, you need sensors. Okay, so how are you going to own items? Okay, NFTs. moving avatars through different games and moving avatars through different metaverses. Because it's not just going to be Facebook's meta. It's going to be, hey, Zane, can you do it better? Okay, Zane tries. Daniel, can you do a metaverse iteration better? Okay, Daniel tries. Then we all can move our avatars across these different things. And right now, it seems so big picture, metaverse. It's like almost like I'm talking about Ready Player One, the movie. But right now, the best way to see it, the best way to innovate is one, take a ground view, but then go deep. So when I say go deep, meaning, say, for example, you're a gamer. Okay, you don't have to stay in the 30,000-foot approach. Go into the gaming community's utilization of NFTs, how they're using NFTs. Like in Fortnite, you have the Bucks token, but the thing is, it's very locked, meaning you can only use the Fortnite Bucks in Fortnite's ecosystem. If I want to trade it with Daniel, tough luck, can't do it. If I want to swap a character with Zane, tough luck, can't do it. So in a decentralized world, with NFTs, what you can do is you have the freedom to accumulate these tokens and actually have real world value that you can bring into real world currency. Yeah, actually pay your bills with or have a side hustle or whatever it is. So you might be a guy who's really into games, like I said, or you might be like, you know what, this this idea of digital land is very interesting to me. I like this digital land concept. And so you can go into the sandbox and look at land. It's very expensive. So what you would do if you were interested in that space would say, okay, what are the new kind of metaverse land projects that I could look into, and then buy maybe a plot of the land. And I can tell you, it's been tremendously profitable for people who have got in. Then just track which projects have utility, which projects have strong communities where, say, for example, different people come in and share value. Yeah, there's a whole way, and you can just search on YouTube how to evaluate and find like a high quality NFT project. And so if you're a beginner and you're trying to get more interested, maybe you want to invest your first $300 or whatever it is, you can go through like a list to say, okay, how to evaluate the art, how to evaluate the community, how to evaluate utility. Is the team anonymous or is it public? All these different kind of ways to evaluate quality. And you can make a start. And people who have a MetaMask wallet, which is your digital wallet, people who have an NFT, people who have some crypto, like Daniel said, it's going to prepare them to make use of it as it becomes bigger and bigger and more popular in our culture. So, like I said earlier, everyone is still very early. They just have to make a little commitment, maybe a half an hour reading, something like that. In terms of actual metrics and actual time that what I've spent in the initial months, probably 4 or 5 hours a day every day. Now probably about 2 hours every day just to catch up, many newsletters and things like that. And it is like whichever space you're in, over time you have to curate your list of teachers that you trust, YouTube channels that you trust, newsletters that you like, social media people you follow, and that way you get the best, most filtered, high quality information. And in 15 minutes, you can do more with that 15 minutes than people do in 2 hours, if you organize your stuff well.
I like what you said about curation.
Yeah.
I really resonate with that thought, because the thing is that my idea for the name of my brand, Real Hustlers, came from Gary V and his book, in which he talks about the art of hustling, the craft of hustling, not art. And but now I can't really listen to that guy anymore. When I hear his voice, I'm so annoyed about it. I think I just, at that point in my life earlier, I took everything that was best in him for me, and then I had to move on, find someone else. I would probably name few more examples of people like that I, let's say, had in my life, that I followed in my life, and got bored of them after some time, and then I had to move on, find someone new, and take some, let's say, take some new portion of knowledge and expertise from them.
It's like Gary Vee is the 30,000 foot view. Work, work, work. Content is king. Keep pumping it out. Keep pumping it out. This is the way. This is the way. Hustle, hustle, hustle. But why people mock him sometimes is that I think the reason why he keeps it that way is, hey, what you guess what? I'm not saying at times he can't be nuanced or detailed, but he tries to keep it general and work hard because that's the way you accumulate a huge audience,
Mm.
right? Well, that's what Daniel said. That's what I'm saying. Like you have to pick a niche eventually, and that should be a goal. Become a domain expert. That's when you're most respected and most highly paid. Because Gary Vee doesn't go to the floor and say, okay, um, and say like, okay, how does this particular niche use my knowledge and stuff like that? That's why you're going into Eric Sue and more detailed for your niche kind of perspective, rather than just the work, work, work. You want a little bit of detail as well, for sure. I get it, man. Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Zayne, any concluding words
wrap it
about
up.
funny JPGs of Adit?
I mean, I can talk NFT for hours, but that's
How,
not the
how do
whole
you?
point of this. That's not the whole point of this conversation. We're talking about new ideas. So I was like, okay, I'll really try to like hold back, hold back. But what I would say is that if people listen to this and then you go, what did he just say? That is when you write those things down, you go back and like, what is a whitelist? What is a MetaMask? What is a Discord? What is the this? What is the that? This is where we talk about like embracing new ideas. And for me, this is where you start, which is when you hear
Yeah,
something,
and
you
and
start
and
there.
yeah, and let's bring it back in a very succinct way to make it helpful for people. No matter what it is, you can give two hoots about an NFT or anything digital, but whatever niche in going into 2022 you want to be interested in, you want to accumulate knowledge on, you want to maybe invest in or create a service around, the best thing to do is know that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can build upon it, right? So what I mean by that is go on YouTube, type in those keywords. It seems so simple, but I'm surprised that no one really does this. I do this week to week. I do this week
Yeah,
to week. I sort by most viewed. What are the keywords in NFT land? What are the keywords in social media land? And I put, okay, best ways to do this, best ways to do that, how to evaluate this, how to get a whitelist. And then
yeah,
I'll do that on Reddit. Then I'll
yeah,
do that in Discord. And then I'll do that on Google, obviously. And you'll be
yeah,
surprised because it's very beneficial for people to make content. Daniel knows about this, right? It's very beneficial for people to make content in where you're interested in. You just have to go and find it. They
yeah. I
make it
think
for Yeah, they make it for their own sites, for their SEO, to sell affiliates, to sell their own product. All you have to do is go and find it and read it because it's curated once again.
yeah, and I think that's true. And just to wrap up, I think yes, the information on the internet is there. You can never say to yourself, "Oh, but where can I start or how can I do it?" It's simple. And even Gary Vee always say this, right? He was like, "I'll tell you the best website where you can find everything. Take a pen and paper," and then he would say, "G O O G," and then people are like, "Okay, I know what you're talking about." But it's true. You just need to put in there. But for me, it's like information is free, but the implementation is
It's
key.
key.
That
Yes,
is where the
I
key
love that.
happens.
I love that.
So I think for people to take away is like, yes, you heard new ideas, etc. And okay, let's go back in full circle and then we'll wrap it up. So if cryptocurrency has happened in my life when I first heard it and I had embraced it, I would be doing very different things now, right? So I think if you hear new ideas now, don't say to yourself, how do I do it? Or I'm too late, I'm too over. Just go and then embrace it, and then you can still ride on that wave. So, all right, we will end it there. I think it's a
Perfect.
great discussion. Otherwise, we can go on for another hour. I think there's so much to talk about. For people who are watching or listening, if you enjoy it, let us know. If you're new to NFT or you're new to what some new ideas, let us know. Leave a comment below and follow us on Instagram at Newborn Hustlers. Adi, what's your Instagram, your
Uh,
business? Do you want to
I,
give a shout?
I haven't used Instagram for years, Zane, so I don't have anything to share.
Okay, so when you launch your NFT, you come here
Yes, for
again and
sure,
then you launch it. Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure.
Last thing.
So how do you pick up chicks these days?
There's not been much of that going on, to be honest. The past lockdown, and I don't know how it is in Poland, but in the UK, it's pretty shut down. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Only
I don't do
recently opened, to be honest.
I don't do that. My life has been taken over by NFTs. I'm afraid NFT is my new girlfriend. Last thing, give us a like and subscribe if you enjoy the show. All right, everybody, we'll leave it there. See
See you
you.
guys.
Take care.